Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the most shocking courtroom collapse in Atlanta history. Cameras were rolling, reporters were scribbling, and the judge hadn't even finished speaking when Tiny dropped to her knees, screaming, "That's not true." The DNA results had just been read, and what they revealed turned decades of loyalty, love, and lies into chaos. Because according to that report, Shekinah Jo, Tiny's former best friend, her so-called sister, the woman she defended through every rumor, isn't just part of the story. She is the story. The DNA confirmed what no one dared to imagine. Shekinah is King Harris's real mother. The courtroom erupted, T froze. Shekinah just stood there, calm, unbothered, like someone who'd finally stopped pretending. And Tiny, she collapsed under the weight of a truth she thought would never surface. Years of rumors, deleted posts, family first interviews, gone in a single sentence. So now the world's asking the only question that matters. How long did they know? Was this a hidden arrangement? A betrayal covered in baby photos? Or has the Harris dynasty been living a lie this entire time? Because, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just gossip, it's blood. The moment Tiny hit the courtroom floor, the world stopped breathing. It wasn't just a faint, it was a collapse that felt symbolic. Like her whole life had finally caved in on itself. The cameras froze, security rushed forward, and the judge's voice echoed over the chaos. Order in the court, but there was no order left. There was only shock, because what had just been revealed didn't just challenge her marriage, it rewrote her motherhood. Reporters later said they'd never seen anything like it. Tiny screamed, the way her nails clawed at the floor, the way she looked at T and then at Shekinah. It was pure disbelief mixed with betrayal. "Tell me this isn't real," she shouted, voice cracking. But the results were sitting right there, stamped, signed, sealed. Cold scientific truth in black and white. King Harris's DNA did not match Tiny. The room went silent. You could hear the click of pens, the shuffle of expensive shoes on marble. And then everyone turned toward the one person who wasn't moving, Shekinah Jo. She stood still, eyes glossy but steady, like she'd been waiting for this day. One reporter whispered, "She's not denying it." Another whispered, "She already knew." According to insiders, the test hadn't been part of the original hearing at all. It was a surprise submission, allegedly filed by a private attorney working on behalf of an anonymous source. But now the source wasn't anonymous anymore. Shekinah herself had submitted it with her signature on the chain of custody form. When the judge asked her to confirm, she nodded and said calmly, "I had to tell the truth. I'm tired of being erased." That's when Tay snapped. He jumped from his seat, shouting, "You're lying! Ain't no way." The babe stepped forward, but he didn't care. His voice cracked, filled with panic. Not anger, panic. Tiny sobbed harder, begging him to stop, but he couldn't. For the first time, the man who prided himself on control looked completely powerless. Court transcripts later revealed that the DNA request was made weeks earlier, meaning Shekinah had known the results before the hearing. She'd walked into that room already knowing she held the truth that could destroy them all. She'd sat through years of being called jealous, unstable, messy, when in reality, she was carrying a secret the world couldn't have handled. The scandal didn't start here though. This was years in the making. Back in the early 2010s, long before social media turned their friendship into memes, Shekinah and Tiny were inseparable. Sisters by bond, not by blood. They shared everything, business ventures, personal moments, even heartbreaks. But people close to the circle always whispered there was more to their connection, an invisible thread that didn't make sense until now. Rumor had it Shekinah and T had history, something that happened during the early hustle gang days. She was around before the reality shows, before the perfect family branding. She was there when T was building his empire, and Tiny was rebuilding her trust. Everyone brushed it off as gossip, until this DNA result made it make sense. According to an insider, quoted by Atlanta Daily Now, there were always whispers that Shekinah knew too much about King, his habits, his health, even private family stuff only a mother would know. At the time, people assumed she was just an overly involved friend. But now those same details sound chillingly maternal. Shekinah told the court she'd kept quiet out of fear. "They told me my truth would ruin them," she said, voice steady, but pretending almost ruined me. The courtroom went cold. Even the judge hesitated before asking, "So, you're saying you are the biological mother of King Harris?" She nodded. "Yes, sir. I have nothing else to hide." Outside, chaos erupted. Fans lined the courthouse steps. Phones out, live streaming every second. Hashtags like Not Your DNA, Bombshell, Chorus and Unseen's Shekinah Speaks trended within minutes. Everyone wanted answers, and nobody believed it could be real. Twitter became a digital riot. One fan tweeted, "No way Tiny carried him 9 months just for science to say nope." Another replied, "This explains the tension between them for years." And deep inside the courthouse, that tension was boiling into something dangerous. Ty stared at Shekinah like he didn't recognize her. His lawyers whispered about filing injunctions, trying to block further discussion, but the judge overruled them. The evidence is now public record. He said the truth cannot be undone. Tiny's attorney tried to argue that there must have been a lab mistake, demanding a retest. But Shekinah cut in. "I did 3 tests, private, state, and court verified. They all say the same thing." Her voice cracked for the first time. "I didn't want to hurt nobody. I just wanted to be acknowledged." And that line, "I just wanted to be acknowledged," broke something in everyone listening. Even those who doubted her couldn't deny the emotion in her voice. This wasn't revenge, it was release. As the hearing recessed, news crews swarmed outside. Everyone wanted the first quote, the first photo, the first reaction. But Shekinah didn't stop for microphones. She simply said, "God knows the truth. Now the world does too." Meanwhile, T.I and Tiny were rushed out a side exit. She was barely walking, supported by assistants, whispering, "It's not true. It can't be true." But the world had already made up its mind. TMZ-style blogs uploaded side-by-side pictures of King Harris next to Shekinah, circling similarities, analyzing smiles, drawing DNA conclusions from cheekbones. The internet played scientist, judge, and jury all at once. That night, a so-called family insider went live on Instagram, claiming that this wasn't new information at all, that the truth had been covered up for years to protect the brand. They alleged that back when King was born, an agreement had been made for Shekinah to stay silent in exchange for financial security and media protection. She signed something she didn't understand, the insider said. Now she's tired of watching them pretend like she don't exist. Tiny's fans fired back instantly, calling it a lie. But the timing was suspicious. Days earlier, Shekinah had posted a cryptic message. "The truth don't need permission." Nobody thought much of it then. Now it looked prophetic. By midnight, Tiny collapse was the #1 trend worldwide. News sites posted slow-motion replays of her fainting in court, turning heartbreak into clickbait. Commentators debated morality, loyalty, and betrayal like it was a sport. One headline read, "From best friend to biological mother, the Shekinah Tiny breakdown nobody saw coming." But behind the screens, there were bigger questions. If Shekinah really was King's mother, what did that mean for his legal documents? His last name? His inheritance? What did it mean for the Harris brand? The family shows? The endorsements? The family goals image that sold millions in sponsorships? It meant everything was built on a lie. The Harris empire wasn't just cracking, it was collapsing in real time. And as dawn broke over Atlanta, one truth stood taller than. One truth stood taller than. Sponsors reassessing relationships. Even longtime friends in the industry started unfollowing. It was the celebrity version of exile. And Shekinah, she was everywhere. Talk shows, podcasts, exclusive interviews. She'd gone from the background friend to the center of the story. "They can call me messy all they want," she said during one interview. "But you know what's messier? Lies." But even as she spoke, she hinted that another revelation was coming. "I didn't even say everything yet," she told the host, smirking slightly. That baby wasn't the only secret in that house. The host leaned in, eyes wide. "What do you mean by that?" Shekinah smiled. "Let's just say the DNA test ain't the only document that's about to leak." And just like that, she dropped another bomb. Mid-in walked off set. Within minutes, the clip was trending. Theories spread like wildfire again. Was she talking about T, another child, a financial secret, or something darker? Nobody knew, but everyone was hooked. The Harris dynasty wasn't just falling apart, it was being dismantled one revelation at a time. And while Tiny hid, T.I raged, and fans speculated. One thing was certain: this scandal wasn't close to over. Because as Shekinah walked away from that interview, her final words echoed across every screen in America. "The truth don't need a PR team. The truth don't need a PR team." Those were Shekinah's final words, before the interview feed cut to black. And the internet hasn't slept since. Every news anchor, podcast host, and reaction channel replayed that moment like it was the final scene of a blockbuster movie. Some called her brave, others called her cruel. But one thing was clear: Shekinah had officially flipped the Harris empire upside down, and there was no coming back from it. Within 24 hours, fallout hit like a wrecking ball. Brand sponsors dropped the family faster than hashtags trend. Reality show contracts were quietly cancelled. Even their oldest allies in the industry began issuing statements that sounded suspiciously like, "We wish them well," which in celebrity language means we're cutting ties before this gets uglier. Meanwhile, Shekinah's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Everyone wanted an exclusive. She refused most of them. "I said what I said," she told a journalist through her publicist. "I'm not here to do a tour. I'm here to live my truth." But behind the scenes, sources claimed she was negotiating with a streaming platform for a full documentary, one that would finally tell her side. Tiny, however, wasn't saying a word. She had reportedly checked into a private wellness retreat in Miami, surrounded by family. One insider said she was emotionally destroyed, barely speaking and refusing to see T.I at all. She keeps saying she lost everything: her husband, her image, even her child, the insider whispered. She don't know who to hate more, Shekinah or herself. Ty, on the other hand, tried to fight back the only way he knew how, through control. He went live late one night, pacing his mansion, voice breaking between anger and desperation. "Y'all think you know everything," he said, pointing into the camera. "But y'all don't know the half. The devil busy, and he's using people close to me." He paused, took a breath, and added, "That woman ain't my son's mother." That's a lie from the pit. But the damage was done. Viewers didn't believe him, not because of evidence, but because of energy. The once confident rapper now looked cornered, humbled, terrified. Comment sections filled with snake emojis, clown faces, and brutal captions. "You said nobody would believe her. Looks like everyone does now." The next morning, lawyers representing Shekinah filed a formal petition requesting acknowledgement of biological maternity and amendment of birth records. That meant she wasn't just exposing them for headlines. She wanted the legal truth on paper. According to court insiders, the petition included more than DNA tests. It contained notarized hospital records, witness affidavit, and an old email allegedly sent from Chinese manager arranging confidential transfer of parental rights. That leak alone turned the case into national news. Suddenly, mainstream outlets like CNN and the New York Post were covering what started as gossip. Commentators debated ethics, celebrity privilege, and the culture of silence in fame families. The narrative shifted from drama to scandal of the decade. Atlanta was divided. Half the city sympathized with Tiny, calling her a victim of manipulation. The other half called her complicit, claiming she'd knowingly built a life on deception. Churches preached about truth, finding its way out. Street murals popped up overnight with Shekinah's face and the words, "DNA don't lie." Meanwhile, King Harris, the center of the storm, finally broke his silence. In a single raw post on X, he wrote, "I didn't ask for this, but I'm gonna stand on the truth. Whoever birthed me, I'm still me." That post shattered the internet. Millions of likes, thousands of think pieces. Some praised his maturity. Others said the statement sounded coached. But either way, he'd spoken, and it deepened the wound between all three adults forever. Ty tried to spin the narrative again by launching a charity event for single parents. The irony didn't go unnoticed. One host from the Tea Table podcast joked, "He's trying to donate his way back to respect." The audience laughed, but the damage was irreversible. Then came the third bombshell, leaked footage. Someone from inside the courtroom, likely a staff member, leaked video of the exact moment the DNA results were read aloud. The clip showed Tiny clutching her chest, gasping, collapsing into her chair. It showed T burying his face in his hands. And it showed Shekinah standing completely still, tears streaming silently down her face. No audio, no context, just pure emotion. That silent footage did more than any rumor could. It humanized the chaos. It made it real. By week's end, legal filings confirmed the DNA results had been re-verified and authenticated by a federal lab. No inconsistencies found. The report read, translation, it was official. The Harris family could deny it publicly all they wanted, but the science wasn't budging. That's when the threats started. Anonymous calls, online doxing, fake accounts claiming Shekinah faked the documents. She responded once on live. "They've been threatening me for years. I'm still here, still telling the truth." The live ended with her signature line, "God don't bless what's built on lies." And just like that, the story stopped being about scandal. It became about survival, about truth, loyalty, and the price of silence. Tiny returned home weeks later, thinner, quieter, but different. Neighbors said she avoided everyone, even close friends. One eyewitness claimed she visited Shekinah's house late one night, sat outside in her car for 20 minutes, and left without knocking. Nobody knows if it was guilt or grief, maybe both. As for T.I, he vanished from the spotlight completely. No interviews, no posts, no shows, just silence. Insiders said he was dealing with severe depression and questioning his legacy. In one leaked voicemail to a friend, he allegedly said, "Everything I built gone in one DNA test." And in a way, he wasn't wrong. The Harris dynasty, once Atlanta's royal family, was over. The mansion, the image, the perfect facade, gone. In its place stood one undeniable truth. The empire was built on borrowed blood. Months later, the case reached its conclusion. The court officially amended King Harris's birth certificate, naming Shekinah Joe as the biological mother. Tiny retained no parental rights, but requested visitation for emotional purposes. Shekinah granted it. She loved him too. She told reporters, "I just wish she'd loved me enough to tell him the truth." The final image of the scandal wasn't a headline or a meme. It was a moment outside the courthouse. Shekinah and King walked out hand in hand, faces calm, cameras flashing. Reporters shouted questions, but Shekinah just smiled faintly and said, "It's done." But was it really? Because hours later, an anonymous post hit Reddit again. A screenshot of what looked like another document. This one labeled Paternity Confidential. The internet went wild. Was the father next? Was there another secret buried under the rubble of truth? The speculation reignited everything. Once again, fans began asking if T was really King's biological father, or if there was yet another twist coming. Some said it was fake, Others said Shekinah wasn't the only one with receipts. No confirmations ever came, but the idea alone was enough. The story refused to die. It evolved, mutated like a living organism that feeds on clicks, comments, and curiosity. And as social media buzzed with theories, Shekinah posted one final message. Simple, haunting, and perfectly gossip spill vibe. Blood made it real, lies made it famous. The post went viral instantly. Millions of likes, thousands of tears. The caption became a mantra, a warning, and a legacy unknown. The Harris story wasn't a tragedy. It was a revelation, a reminder that in the age of fame, secrets don't stay buried, DNA doesn't stay private, and loyalty doesn't survive lies. The cameras faded, the gossip slowed, but the whispers never stopped. Because deep down, everyone knew one thing for sure. The Harris dynasty didn't fall because of enemies. It fell because of family. And the woman who burned it down, she didn't need revenge. She had proof. So, here we are standing in the aftermath of a truth that broke the internet. The family and the illusion of perfection. The courtroom lights are off. The cameras are gone. But the echo of that DNA revelation still lingers in every headline, every whisper, every tear that Tiny cried on that cold courtroom floor. It wasn't just a test result. It was karma with paperwork. It exposed what money tried to bury, what fame tried to rewrite, and what silence tried. What fame tried to rewrite, and what silence tried. Every headline. This wasn't just gossip anymore. It was generational warfare, wrapped in celebrity glitter. Because when family secrets meet public exposure, there's no coming back clean. Tiny's tears weren't just for betrayal. They were for identity. The world had stolen her motherhood in one afternoon, and no amount of PR could bring it back. And yet, somewhere in the middle of the chaos, Shekinah whispered to a reporter off camera, "This ain't even the biggest secret." That single line changed everything. If this bombshell wasn't the biggest one, what could possibly be worse? This ain't even the biggest secret. Those 8 words were like lighter fluid poured onto an already raging inferno. Cameras followed Shekinah as she left the courthouse, flashes exploding like fireworks around her. The priest sounded her for answers. Fans screamed her name, and every gossip blog on the internet lost its collective mind. Theories started popping up faster than DNA results could print. If this wasn't the biggest secret, what else could there possibly be? By sundown, Atlanta looked like a city under gossip lockdown. Every talk show, every radio station, every live stream was dissecting Shekinah's words. Was there another child? One host asked. Was T involved in something deeper? Another speculated. Some claimed Shekinah was hinting at a cover-up involving King's birth certificate. Others swore she was protecting someone else entirely. And in the middle of all that noise, one thing was crystal clear. The Harris family silence was making it worse. Tiny hadn't spoken since the collapse. Not one post, not one appearance. Her team said she was recovering privately. But insiders whispered she was in shock, refusing to eat, refusing to see anyone except her lawyer and her pastor. One anonymous assistant told Hollywood, "Hush, Tiny's replaying everything. Every friendship, every fight, every time Shekinah said something, and she brushed it off. She's realizing the signs were there the whole time." Meanwhile, T was allegedly spiraling. Reports said he'd locked himself in a studio, blasting old songs like "Whatever You Like" on repeat, while yelling at his team to control the narrative. But control was long gone. The internet had taken over. Fans were now comparing childhood photos of King to both women, pointing out facial structures, even running amateur AI DNA face match tests. Then came the first real leak, an anonymous Reddit post titled "The Truth About King's Birth" claimed to include fragments of medical paperwork. old hospital transfer records from 2004 showing Shekinah listed as an emergency contact under a different last name. Within hours, screenshots went viral. It didn't matter if they were real or doctored. People believed them. The caption read, "They switched paperwork to protect the brand." Public opinion flipped overnight. For years, Shekinah was seen as Tiny's messy, loudmouth friend. Now she was being called the silence mother, the truth teller, Atlanta's hidden queen. Shekinah didn't deny it. Instead, she posted one Instagram story. When you keep receipts for years, eventually you got to show M. That single post sent gossip pages into meltdown. Comment sections flooded with support. "She's been telling us," one follower wrote. Another added, "This explains why Tiny always looked nervous around her." Within hours, she gained 1 million new followers, more than she'd ever had in her career. But then came the second leak, and this one was devastating. A 2-minute audio recording surfaced, allegedly from years earlier, capturing Tiny and Ty arguing in their kitchen. In it, a voice resembling Tiny shouted, "You promised me nobody would ever find out. She's never supposed to speak." A male voice replied, "Ain't nobody going to believe her anyway." The sound of a slamming door followed. The clip racked up millions of views before it was taken down, but by then, it had already been mirrored, remixed, slowed down, and turned into memes. The phrase, "Ain't nobody going to believe her anyway," became the internet's new symbol for silenced women. Fans started tagging old photos of Shekinah with captions like, "And yet we believe her now?" That same night, a close friend of the family told Gossip Radar that Shekinah wasn't lying and that the DNA bombshell was only half the truth. According to this insider, there had been discussions back in the early 2000s about how King's birth should be presented publicly. Tiny was desperate to save her marriage. The insider said T.I thought a baby would fix everything. But when the truth came out about who the biological mother was, they panicked. The insider also hinted at a payoff, a 6-figure agreement for silence. Shekinah didn't take the money at first. They claimed she wanted acknowledgement, but when she realized they weren't going to give it, she walked away until now. Within 24 hours, Quattro Justice for Shekinah started trending. Fans began calling for T.I and Tiny to publicly apologize. Protesters even showed up outside Grand Hustle Studios with signs that read, "DNA, don't lie, and let mothers speak." Local news stations covered it live like it was a political movement. Meanwhile, King Harris, the boy at the center of all this, was completely silent. He didn't post, didn't tweet, didn't appear anywhere. But paparazzi caught him leaving the courthouse one evening